It's about that time of day again here, boys and girls. Welcome back, welcome back. Joseph James, School of Trade, Sideways Markets. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of June, 2014, the 18th day of the 6th month of 2014. Did we survive? Hold on real quick. 1, 2, 3, count the dot the I. Okay, yep, I got all 12 fingers and toes. I got 1.5 eyeballs left over. I think we survived FOMC. Nobody's bleeding. Nobody's crying in the corner, but he's still intact. Wonderful. Welcome back to an exciting nightly newsletter. I got a great one in store for you tonight. We're going to start out tonight by talking about what happened today in the markets. We'll then move forward talking about the news for tomorrow. And then you know what we always do. We're going to roll those sleeves up, and I'm going to give you guys some strategies. No matter what happens tomorrow, you are going to be prepared. So tonight, we'll take a look at what happened first today. Then we'll get ready for tomorrow. Before we jump in, though, I want to remind you guys here, if you're not watching the video this evening on our blog, if you're watching the video this evening on our YouTube page, make sure you get over to sidewaysmarkets.com for 3 big reasons. There'll be a link below the video if you're watching this on our YouTube page right now. Get on over to sidewaysmarkets.com. Right below the video here today, you'll see a link to download all of my charts. That way you can have them ready for trading tomorrow, whether you're in my trade room or somewhere else. And of course, upper left-hand corner, I get a special free pass for you. Take me up on that offer, guys and gals. Every afternoon, I get a special free pass for you to come out and check out my live trade room. I want to show you how simple this can be to profit from using my newsletter. Right? Last night, we had a bunch of great levels that we gave you guys. And today, boy, we nailed a couple big trades today, especially off that Russell using last night's newsletter, right? So come on in, join me tomorrow afternoon. I get a special invitation for you guys. Come out and join me in my trade room tomorrow afternoon. And then the third thing here is follow me down in the lower left-hand corner, track down my ugly mug, and give me your name and your email address. That way I can send you my nightly newsletter every evening when it's published. No more checking back on the blog. No more waiting for the YouTube video to upload. Give me your name and your email address, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So 3 things on our blog. Pause the video, download the charts for today, grab a copy of our free pass for tomorrow's trade room, and of course, don't forget to register for your nightly newsletter. Ready to rock and roll? Helmets on, mouth guards in, locked and loaded. Let's get started. First things first, we'll start with what happened today in the markets. Unless you've been living under a rock the past couple days, you knew that today was the big day of the week. FOMC day, 8 times a year. The Federal Open Market Committee meets. And of course, today was the day that they released their announcement. Not much changed as far as what we were expecting, right? Which, of course, didn't really mean much for the markets because the markets are going to react no matter what happens. But just in case you're wondering, there wasn't a lot of new additions to the statement, the announcement, the policies moving forward. The one big thing that we did here today was that we're pretty much locked in on the first interest rate hike in the middle of 2015. That's pretty much all we kind of got out of the news report today at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Everything else was speculation. They're speculating on jobs, they're speculating on inflation, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Bottom line is, one of the best parts about being a day trader is that I don't need to worry about the news. Why do I say that? Don't all traders have to worry about the news? No, we actually know when the news is coming out, and we simply wait for a reaction to that news. So rather than trying to predict or anticipate what the news will be, when somebody asks me if I trade the news, I say yes. But I have no idea what the news is, nor do I care. And I'm actually quite proud of that, actually. When somebody says, hey, did you see that news come out this afternoon? I say, yeah, well, I knew when it was, but I have no idea what the news actually said, because professional traders know we don't make money off the news, we make money off the reaction. So trading the reaction to that news, that's how we profit from whatever news report comes out, including the FOMC announcement that happened today. All right, let's jump right in. Crude oil, again, unless you've been living under a rock, unless you haven't been watching my newsletter, you may or may not be aware of what's happening here on crude. We jumped up to 107, and now we've been grinding our way down, and that's exactly what happened again today. We've had a very interesting personality. I'll tell you, ever since the last quadruple witching, the third week in March, it's been almost 3 months, and this crude futures market has been a little bit of a different animal, right? We've been talking about in our trade room how crude oil has a split personality lately. Before the end of March, it was the good old crude. After March, I'll tell you, ever since Putin took his shirt off, right, and went into Ukraine, you know what I'm talking about, ever since those events developed, crude oil has been a little bit of a different beast. So we've been trading range-bound markets on crude more than trending markets. I don't care what type of personality the market has. As long as I identify it, I can trade it if it's a range-bound, consolidating, a trending market. So crude's been range-bound. And you can see the last few days we've had these grinding lower, and today was no different. 93 ticks of range, a pathetic range on crude. We're used to seeing over 200 ticks of range, so definitely the good stuff is hopefully coming here soon. We closed here below 106 today. That was pretty nice to see. We opened, as you can see, in the middle, right? Now, that was expected because of the FOMC announcement. Everything was pretty much range-bound going into the news today. And you can see, though, lower lows, lower highs. We get volume down at the lows. We close at the lows. Tough to say we're not bearish. Now, this chart alone is a little bit difficult to kind of plan for tomorrow. So stick around. I'm going to give you some more clues as far as what I'm seeing for tomorrow on crude. I'm still waiting for a little bit deeper pullback. But you see this little gap down here? Yeah, we get a big gap here waiting at 105.18 down to 104.31. If you zoom all the way out here, you can see where that gap came from, right? If you zoom all the way out here, you can see where that gap came from, right? Big gap there in price. So you know those gaps, they love to get filled. They love to get filled. So it's going to be pretty easy to see if this price can get down below this tomorrow. We could be talking 104.31 tomorrow afternoon. All right, so don't say I didn't warn you if these sellers continue to push lower into tomorrow. And again, at any moment, we can hear another crisis coming out of Ukraine. I think we've all forgot about Ukraine, right? What Ukraine? It's amazing how quickly the news media moves on to the next crisis, right? And now, of course, it's in Iraq. So we're waiting to hear what happens next. There could be news at any time that comes out between now and tomorrow's newsletter that may, of course, turn the bias here from bearish back to bullish. So we'll be keeping our eyes peeled. And don't forget, if you want real-time analysis, if you want real-time trade calls, if you want to know what I'm thinking in real time here, don't forget to come out and join me in my trade room because we work with this stuff in real time. What I'm giving you right now is an overview for tomorrow. But this stuff changes real fast, as you guys know. So if you want to get the real-time updates, come join me tomorrow in the trade room, and I'll give you my input as I see it developing in real time. Right now here, though, bearish on crude going into tomorrow. And if you want the plan for tomorrow, stick around for a few more minutes, and I'll show you guys exactly what I have in store for you guys tomorrow. Moving forward here on the Rusty. Now, you know, I'm going to take the horn out right now. I'm going to take, oh, there it comes. There it comes. Here comes the horn, right? I'm going to start tooting my own horn here because I'll tell you right now, if you took just the trade calls off the Rusty this week, you've made thousands of dollars. Yesterday's newsletter was worth over 10K. Today's, you can see here, should I say 2 days ago's newsletter was worth over 10K. Last night's newsletter, we gave you the exact entries. In fact, I just so happen to have the chart right here. How convenient. Here was the chart from last night. This was a chart I gave you 24 hours ago. And if you remember, we gave us 1165 and 1163. Those were the two areas that I begged you last night to wait for a pullback. And then remember, absolutely. I don't work for CNBC. I don't work for Bloomberg. I don't just give you direction. Well, that would be too easy, wouldn't it? No. Here on my newsletter, I give you the exact entry and the exact exit. Tell those hooligans down at CNBC to give you that next time on Fast Money, right? Yeah, exactly. Tell Kramer to give you the exact entry and the exact exit. Let's see if we can do that. I don't think so. Last night's newsletter, exact entry, exact exit. Do the math, guys. That's 65. That's 63 to 78. That's over 180 ticks per contract. That's almost $2,000 in profit per contract. And people keep telling me my membership's expensive. This just paid for it right here. All right? Awesome job last night on the newsletter. Even better job this morning. The best part was we nailed this entry this morning in the trade room. What a great time we had today in the room. A little bit sloppy at first, but boy, if you stuck to the levels we gave you last night, you were rewarded handsomely. Now, what happened today? Well, as you know, earlier this week I said, all right, we're probably going to that prior week high. I missed it by 8 ticks yesterday. You know, it can't be perfect all the time, but we got right above that prior week high today. Now, I'm not going to take all the credit. I'll give my gal Janet Yellen and her cronies at the Fed, I'll give them a little bit of credit because they're the ones that, of course, came up with the announcement that pushed it higher. But hey, all I can do is speculate on what's coming, give you guys some levels to use, find my direction, find the entry, and take my money out when I get to my targets. Awesome job today, though, on the Russell. Members, give yourselves a pat on the back today, making great money today on the Russell. We saw 167 ticks of range. Here is a bullish market right here. But we got one little thing here. One little thing. Can you tell? What is it? Members, what is it? This looks nothing but bullish. Look. Open in the middle. Close at the highs. Bullish. Closed above the prior week high. Bullish. But there's one thing on this chart that tells me we may not be as bullish as first sight. What is it? It's the volume. The volume is the big thing here that tells me we are probably in store for a pullback. You got this big push off the news. Don't be surprised for a pullback here before we keep going higher. All right, so we got some volume down near the lows. Now, most of this is probably to blame because we did spend the majority of the time today going lower here, and then we grabbed it here at 63. We actually bought this right here in the room today and then took it right on up and, of course, tried to hold it all the way through the news here this afternoon. A fantastic, fantastic trade in our trade room today. But the only thing that the volume tells me is we may not have spent the whole day at the highs here. So this tells me at the end of the session, we made that move towards the highs. The fact that we closed at the highs tells me that nobody took profit. Everybody held on to their longs through the close today, and I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings. So bullish, bullish, bullish with a capital B, but we got a little sliver of hope for those sellers. I'm waiting for a pullback for tomorrow. Hold on tight. I got a strategy for you tomorrow, guys, for the old Rusty. Hold on for that strategy for tomorrow. And then I'll tell you right now, what a disappointment here on gold. What happened? I mean, this looks like, is this chart even right? Am I connected to the market right now? What the heck is up with this? 57 ticks on FOMC? Wow. We don't see that very often. Take a picture of this, guys. This doesn't happen very often. Not FOMC. No. If there's one market that is usually affected by FOMC the most, this chart usually looks like this, right, after an FOMC day. What this tells me is that we are just as balanced as we were beginning the week. If you've been watching the newsletter this week, you've heard me say a couple times this week, balanced. Closed on Monday, balanced. Closed on Tuesday, balanced. Closed, open and closed on Wednesday, balanced. So we're here. We're somewhere right here, boy. I'll tell you, that 1270 to 1275, this area right here, we are definitely balanced on gold. So what the heck is going on? What are they waiting on? What are they waiting on? Well, next thing up, we've got quad witching on Friday. But obviously that shouldn't be a reason for them to be waiting. We got more news tomorrow morning out of the U.S. and out of Europe. I don't think that's what they're waiting for. If they're waiting for non-farm payrolls, they got a long wait to go for that. What could they be waiting on right now? Well, have you ever heard this? Have you ever heard me say, I don't need to worry about the news. All I have to worry about is reacting, right? So that's what we have to do right now. On gold, I can't predict it. I can't force it, all right? I can't force it to move. I could go down to the pit and start buying or selling the pit, but I can't really force it. I'm not that well capitalized. So all we got to do is wait. We got to wait here for higher highs. We got to wait here for lower lows, right? We got to wait for a personality. So tomorrow morning, the name of the game tomorrow, W-A-I-T. That dirty four-letter word that all those traders hate, right? This is that word that we hate to do, right? That dirty four-letter word for day traders. Wait. You got it. So tomorrow morning, be careful on gold. Tonight, be careful. Wait for some personality. This might be a little bit of analysis paralysis. I'll tell you, gold's been really odd. Again, ever since Putin took his shirt off and rode that bear into Ukraine, right? That's when the market started to go a little bit funky. Okay, so we're going to wait for some personality going into tomorrow morning. Real narrow range. We opened at the highs, but closed in the middle, volume in the middle, very narrow range. Hopefully this narrow range today on gold will mean for big ranges tomorrow for us. We'll see what happens. But that's my outlook there today on gold. Now, before I jump into tomorrow's strategies, let's get ready for tomorrow's news. Before we jump into strategies for tomorrow, let's get ready for tomorrow's news. So now that you know what happened today, let's jump into tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thirsty Thursday of OPEX. This is the third Friday, the third week of this month. And of course, June being a quadruple witching month, being the end of the second quarter, we know that tomorrow is going to be Thirsty Thursday of quadruple witching OPEX. Now, tomorrow's a pretty exciting day because tomorrow is the day before quadruple witching. Now, I know that most of us are not big-time asset managers. We're all aspiring to do that someday, right? Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. I personally would rather trade my own money than somebody else's, but I'll leave that between you and I. So we can expect tomorrow to be that last bit of fireworks this week before Friday's quad witching week, right? Before the quad witching, basically a trader's holiday on Friday. On Friday, all four asset classes expire. We'll talk about it more tomorrow in tomorrow's newsletter. So today was Wacky Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday is the Wednesday before that Friday quad witching. That's when all the stuff happens. That's when all the asset managers begin to manipulate their portfolio. They're not going to wait for Friday. That's too late by then, right? What if you can't get out of a position on Friday? By the end of the day on Friday, you're sunk. So Wednesday it begins. Usually Thursday is the best week or the best day out of the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday and Tuesday are not really concerning about. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of OPEX are always going to be the meat and potatoes. Wednesday's wacky. Thursday is that day when if you are an asset manager and you want to put some money to work before Friday's expiration, you're going to do it on Thursday. You're not going to do it on Friday. The only people trading on Friday are the ignorant rookies. They have no idea why they should be careful on Friday, right? Or people who have no choice. Either they don't know what's going on or they have no choice. Either way, most people are going to be wise to skip trading on Friday. We'll talk about more about that tomorrow. But again, on Thursday of OPEX or Thursday of quad witching, now we expect to see some pretty good moves tomorrow, and we've got some great news in store for us. As you can see here, I've got Red Star news in Europe at 4:30 from Great Britain from retail sales. I've got news from jobless claims at 8:30 in the U.S. And then, of course, manufacturing. Manufacturing is back, baby. We get the Philly Fed survey at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. What this tells me is that we have opportunities in Europe or London, right? We got opportunities early in the session in the U.S., and we have opportunities late in the session in the U.S. So be ready, guys. Be ready here, starting tomorrow morning in London, moving into the early part of the U.S. session, and then into, of course, the latter half of the morning session in the U.S. Now, tomorrow afternoon, you are probably going to see things slow down pretty considerably because remember, quad witching is a trader's holiday. Usually I'm on vacation this week of the year, right? Usually I take this week off. I'll be taking the week off at the end of the week next week. I got to go do a wedding thing in Mexico, yada, yada, yada. I know, right? Who gets married in Mexico in June? I'll leave my opinions to myself, though. Okay, so moving forward, be careful tomorrow afternoon if there's no personality because, again, it's ahead of the holiday. Think of Friday as a holiday. What would happen on Thursday afternoon? Everybody would expect price to get slower. Therefore, the self-fulfilling prophecy, things would slow down. Okay? So careful tomorrow afternoon, but be ready tomorrow morning. You got to be ready to make that money tomorrow morning. And how are we going to make our money tomorrow? I'm glad you asked. Let's move forward. Starting here with the old funny yellow metal, the gold futures. This chart looks confused. Here's your daily chart of gold. We've been expecting gold here to keep going lower. Now today, the Fed painted a relatively rosy picture. So why on earth is gold going higher? I personally think that there's something happening out there that I don't know about right now. It's the only thing I can think of. There's something out there that I personally don't know about. Does that make me a bad trader? Certainly not. Does that make me a bad person? Absolutely not. Does that mean I can't profit because I don't know exactly why this is happening? Hell no. I don't care about no why. What do I care about? I care about when and where and what. If I worry about the why, I'm going to be so wrapped in the why, I'm going to miss the when and the where. I don't care about the why, but I'll tell you right now, though, I don't get that. I do not understand why this gold went higher here today after the FOMC statement came out, and it painted a pretty rosy picture. But we got to remember, though, as day traders, we don't know everything. You know, I don't have $1 million a month budget to go hire a team of analysts and go fill some huge warehouse full of people to do all this stuff for me. I don't need that stuff. All I need to do is know, what is it again? If you've been watching my newsletter, you know exactly what I'm going to say. There are 3 things. What are the 3 things? I find my trend, I find my levels, and I find my pattern. That's all I need to do. If I see we're going higher, I find a level to buy a pullback. I find my pattern to trade at the pullback. If I see we're going lower, like we are here, I find my resistance area to sell a retracement. Then at that area, I look for the pattern. It's easy. I don't need to know why, but, you know, for tonight's newsletter, it would have been nice to know why this pushed higher. I feel a little bit inadequate, if you will, right? I'm kidding around with you. But the reality is I really couldn't tell you why this price moved higher. And you should not be worried if you don't know something either. Because the reality is, as a professional trader, I make money every day, even when I'm wrong. Even when I have no idea why price is moving higher, all I have to do is simply know what's the trend, where's my level, and where's my pattern. That's all I have to know. So here we are on gold now. We're going lower. We're definitely in a bearish long-term trend, but we're confused. As you can see, I'm stuck between, I got my fast-term cloud, I got my longer-term cloud. I'm stuck. I'm above half the key moving averages. I'm below the other half of the moving averages. This happened in the Russell a few weeks ago. Remember that? Remember how remember that Russell was inside those 2 moving averages? Same thing's happening right now. So if it keeps going sideways like this, be careful out there. All right? But we're still biased. We're still biased here to the downside. Remember what I said last night? We still have a little bit more room here to go up, test the highs, that symmetry, and then collapse. So stick around here tomorrow and into next week here. We're still biased on the gold here right now, and I'm in a great spot right now to be selling. Right? I'm in a great spot right now to be selling. I can't guess, though. I can't predict. I got to wait for price to roll over, and then once it starts to head lower, then I'm off to the races finding my pattern. All right? Remember, we're pattern traders. Being a pattern trader makes it easy for me because I don't have to worry about having experience. I don't need to know why. All I have to do is find the pattern. Then, here we go. Last chart here on gold. Yuck. This looks disgusting. Look at this thing. I mean, we got trend lines above, trend lines below. We got all the moving averages below us, so we're definitely bullish in the short term. But, guys, this tells me right here we are in trouble on gold. So, long-term bearish. But what I see is probably what you see right here. I see a range-bound market. I see a consolidating market. And we may see more of that going into the end of the week. So just be aware, as of right now, my bias is down, but the structure is definitely range bound, definitely consolidating. So just be careful trying to trade the breakouts, especially if you're trying to trade long here right now on gold. If you're trying to trade long on gold, you might want to wear a helmet. All right? It's going to be a bumpy ride going higher. I'm more inclined to let some other poor sucker try to force the highs here and then wait for it to pull back, and then I'll buy it later on once I've seen the proof come out from the buyers. Right now, though, I'm definitely bearish on gold, but I'm bearish with a little bit of caution. I'm looking to sell the highs, take profit of the lows. I'm not quite confident, though, buying these lows. And you know me, if it starts to take off the downside, though, if we start getting that personality that says sell me, I will follow that trade and go lower. So bearish bias, range-bound market, buy lows, sell highs. I'm giving you guys great spots here to be a seller at the highs, great spots to take profit at the lows, or if you feel inclined to buy those lows. All right, use these charts, guys. They've been making us money here the entire year of 2014. Moving forward here now to the mighty mini Russell, or as we call it in our trade room, the good old Rusty. The Rusty is one of our favorite E-minis. You can see here, just like I said earlier on this week, we definitely have a bullish tone of the market right now. We're pushing towards the all-time highs. We're pushing towards the buyer's targets above. As you can see, though, we got our work cut out for us, though. We got one more level here, 1188.9, before we can go claiming victory again here for the buyers. So be aware. We're definitely bullish, but we're definitely running into some major resistance here on the daily chart. Now, we bought this low earlier this week. We cashed our paychecks already here, and now, as you can see here, we're making new highs. You know me, I'm always going to buy at a discount, so right now the plan is to wait for price to pull back so I can buy it again. I got targets up here at 95.6, 09.9. I am going to keep riding this horse. This is the same horse that brought me here, and I'm not going to give up on it right now. That's for sure. Until these things start failing, we've got symmetry. We've got perfect structure right now. Take a picture, guys. When you see a market that looks like this, you better exhaust this baby until it tells you no. I mean, literally, this has been as good as it can possibly get. It's definitely been a little bit slower this week. You know, the volume's been a little bit slower this week, leading into the FOMC, leading into quad witching on Friday. But, I mean, how could I complain? Right? How could I complain? It's made us a ton of money this week, especially for those of you who've been with me in the trade room. Great job. Great job this week in the Russell. So right now, I'm waiting for a pullback. I give you guys 2 locations to buy. I think my track record speaks for itself. I would recommend you use those areas. What's my trend? Trend is up. Where's my level? Level's back here at 62.9. All I need next is a pullback and a pattern. If you want to know the pattern, come see me tomorrow in the trade room, and I'll walk you right through it in real time. It's that easy. You know this stuff works. You've been watching this thing all week. You know it works. Real-time patterns tomorrow morning in the trade room. Come out and see me. Final chart here on the Rusty. Now you can see my exact levels here. I gave you guys the exact levels yesterday. Right? It came back and pulled back this morning. We bought it this morning, took it all the way to the target tonight. I got another chance for you tomorrow if you didn't take me seriously yesterday. I'm looking to buy this. Well, I'll start by buying the 74.9. I'll buy the 71.2. I'll buy the 66.3. There's a symmetrical support level down here between those two. All right, so really you can't lose as long as you wait for it to pull back and then find your pattern. I've got targets overhead. Pretty much the same targets as before, 86.2, 92.5, right? Those are definitely my targets. I will also respect the top of this channel. Okay, so as we go higher, I will definitely use the top of that channel. Remember what I always say, guys, the top of that channel is always going to be one of the most difficult parts to trade. So take your profit there, but do not trade the top of that channel. Well, do whatever you want. But just be careful because it's not a very easy place to trade at the top of a bull channel or the bottom of a bear channel. Now you know my plan on the Rusty. Speaking of Rusty, how about crude oil? I'll tell you, crude's been rusty, squeaky, rusty. I'll tell you, it's not moving very well right now. Like I said, in our trade room, we always kind of joke around by saying crude has a split personality. Ever since we got into that third week of March, now here we are, third week of June, 1 quarter later, we're hoping by the end of this week somebody puts a foot in the rear end of this crude futures and gets them moving. It's been pathetic this week. There's no excuses. Well, I would assume everybody's just still stuck on this whole issue in the Middle East right now. I wish I could give a call over to the Middle East and say, get it done. Do whatever you got to do. Let's get back to business here because this price action has been definitely slow on crude. But luckily, we have a strategy that works on anything, right? Isn't that nice? Wouldn't it be horrible if we could only trade crude, right? We'd be sitting here sleeping away. This strategy works on anything. I don't care what you throw at it. In fact, if you can find me a market this won't work on, I'll be very surprised. I'll be very, very surprised. All right, so we have a very big luxury that we've got a strategy that I can apply to anything. So if crude's not moving, I'll go trade gold, I'll trade rusty, we'll trade the E-minis, we'll trade silver. I don't care what we trade, guys. It doesn't matter to me. As you can see here, crude oil still, I mean, this could be the same chart. If it wasn't for rollover, don't forget we're trading the 814 right now. If it wasn't for rollover, guys, this could be the exact same chart for the last week and a half, right? I mean, literally, ever since we had that news out of Iraq, was it Wednesday last week, we jumped up, and now we're still waiting here to get a pullback so I can buy it. I'm definitely still bullish on crude, but I need to wait here. And 104.09 just seems like a lifetime away right now when we're moving 50 ticks each time, right? This is like a week away now. It used to be one afternoon away. So we're a little bit disappointed in the price action on crude. But again, like I said before, thank goodness for a universal strategy that I can trade any market, any time frame, any day that I want. Now, if we're looking for more specifics, here's what the big waiting game has been. We're waiting for crude. This chart looks exactly like the Russell, doesn't it? It does. It looks exactly like the Russell. But the difference is that crude is taking its sweet old time to pull back right now. I'm looking to buy this trend line. I'm looking to buy this symmetry support. I'm looking to buy this 104.14. I'm looking to buy this 102.40. All right, any of these levels below, any of them. I'm not going to be that picky here, crude, but I need you to pull back. Please remember, at any moment, though, this thing could take off and go right through the roof again if we have another crisis that comes out of Iraq. Again, you know what I'm talking about, right? I've been talking about that all week. So be aware. I would love to get this price to pull back all the way. If it doesn't, if something comes out tonight, tomorrow, right, whenever, we know we're going to be back to buying here. We're still long-term bullish. Targets at 107.18, targets at 107.46, targets at 109.17. All right, guys? So waiting on the pullback here on crude. Last but not least here on crude, another, I know. This chart makes me want to take this market out back and give it a whooping because this thing needs to get moving. Somebody needs to put a foot up the rear end of this market and get this thing to pull back. It's pathetic. This thing just keeps on lollygagging its way down. Oopsie doopsie, here we go. And of course you can see here we haven't even come back to the 105.33 here. What a joke. I'll tell you right now, I can't wait for this thing to get this out of its system. We can get back to printing money on crude. Like I said before, thank goodness I can make my money elsewhere right now because this market stinks here right now if you're trying to make some money every day. So we're waiting here. We're waiting. I want to get down to 105.33 at the very least. Then I can start looking for the buys again. And if we get those buys here, you get a target up top here at 106.97 overhead. And then use those previous targets I gave you on the 89 anchor, right, for your long-term targets above. All right? So if you're looking for the target above here, use these as your target above. The 107.46, the 109.17, and 107.18. Okay? Those will be your targets above using these as your entries. Okay, so we're coming down, test the 105.33. We find the pattern. I got one target up here at 106.97, 107.18, and then again, you know the targets that will be going above. If we come lower, I've got buys here at 105.33, 104.56, 104.14, and boy, wouldn't it be nice, but I don't think we'll get there tomorrow, 102.40 all the way down. All right, guys? Long-term bullish on crude, but I should probably remind you, though, because of this whole hoopla in the news media about the issue in Iraq, at any moment this thing can turn. And I know that's not what you want me to say because it's unpredictable and I can't give you a definite for tomorrow. But if you want a definite, come in and join me tomorrow in my trade room. I pay for all the live data from the news media. I hear it live in real time. So if we do hear about burning oil fields and new takeovers of power, whatever, we'll hear it right in real time and we'll react to it. Also, though, remember, a little bit of us now is saying, you know what, at any moment this could collapse and go right back down to where we came from. The markets take the elevator up, or the stairs up, and the elevator down. But this time around, though, the market took a rocket ship up, and it may take a parachute down. It may just all the way back down here. So we're waiting for that to happen this week. It could end up being an exciting, exciting day tomorrow and into Friday if we get some action here on crude. So be aware of your levels. If we sell off, you've got levels to take for profit. If we pull back and go higher, you know where I'm looking to buy at and where my targets are here for your black gold. Guys and gals, that wraps up my newsletter here for a Wednesday evening. I want to remind you, though, don't forget to share this information with a friend. All right? Tell your buddy who's been trying to learn to trade. Tell all your friends about that free pass. Bring them with you tomorrow afternoon. Get them on the newsletter. Right? Send them a copy of those charts. They'll thank you for it. And last but not least, before I let you guys go, I want to remind you that 10 years ago, we created SchoolOfTrade.com to be a different place, to be the very best place for a student to come and learn and earn. You guys don't need me to tell you about all the junk on the internet these days. If you're looking for the longest running educational resource on the internet, I'm telling you, we've been doing this over 10 years now. We do it right by our clients, and I can't wait to prove it to you. Get over to SchoolOfTrade.com. Join that free trial. You are not going to be disappointed. We offer different levels of membership. We offer lifetime memberships, guys. Everything we do is professional grade, and I think you can already tell the methodology works. Now it's a matter of time getting started, joining my trade room, and making money right along with me. If you've been dreaming about making a trading career a reality, what are you waiting for? You're not going anywhere dreaming about it, guys. Take action. Join the free trial. Join as an advanced member, and I'll see you tomorrow morning in my trade room. It opens up at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Signing off now from the entire team here at our corporate office in a very sunny and warm Los Angeles, California. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time in the trade room, or back here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our nightly newsletter. Signing off now, boys and girls. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.